it shouldn't affect local water.
You know how, he's getting it through you, some other.
Why not just wait for me to start talking so we can get
That's
it?
something we needed to find, because at one point, that's what we had with Rick, so.
I can have this guy start
Mine here.
you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
got enough knowledge and experience to pull the trailer out there and set up command, set up watch. So,
I support all that.
Last meeting to order.
Can't be now.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First call to the public. Do we have any public comments, questions? I have no cards. We'll have one at the end of the session if you want to wait.
No, I don't want to talk to you. You just tell me to shut up.
Sure, got that right. Okay, hearing no public comments other than Les. Item number 4. Consider a motion authorizing the sheriff's office to hire an emergency management coordinator to fill a vacancy at 34 hours per week at an annual salary rate of $49,500, including health insurance and retirement benefits.
I will make this motion so that we can bring it up for discussion and make the changes that need to be made, and so that we can move this forward to tomorrow and keep this position going in a positive and forward position.
We have a motion and support. All in favor, indicate by saying, I'm sorry, discussion. Before we pass this, what was your?
Okay, so it's up for discussion. I guess we can let the sheriff talk at this point and see if we all agree on it, and then before we vote to move it forward. Okay, this is the motion before the changes, and then we'll make a new motion.
okay, last month you authorized me to start a search for a potential person to fill the vacancy in the emergency manager, and I did that. And in fact, we've actually conducted some interviews, and it was unanimously that a man named Trent Atkins, who resides in this county, a former emergency manager, assistant fire chief. He comes with a vast amount of experience to fill this vacancy, more so than anybody in the past, in fact. And so I've spoken to Trent, and he understands it's a part-time position. I think he was hoping that this would become a full-time position in 2018, but he realizes that's not going to happen. In regards to his pay of $49,500, I would propose that the hours go from 34 hours a week to 30 hours a week as a compromise in this, because Trent says he does get health care and insurance from the city of Lansing, so he would not require that. So I'm hoping that you're going to approve me to hire him. He's got enough experience that he can come in and with a short explanation of where the books are and things like that, he's qualified to take the trailer, head out to the fair here in a couple weeks and actually set up a command post. I can have him at the next meeting here Thursday night if you'd like to meet him, and provide you with a copy of his resume.
When would his hire take place? Actual formally?
I'd like to start it next week if it's approved Thursday.
So I have a question for Patty then. So at 30 hours a week, that does not obligate the county to have to pay any benefit, the health insurance benefits, only those benefits required by
It
law?
needs to be less than 30 hours a week.
It'd be 29.
29
He'd
or
still be
28.
obligated, but he's refusing.
He's got his own health insurance provided and retirement provided from the city of Lansing right now. He doesn't.
He'd still be entitled to the health insurance payout.
He could get the buyout.
Correct.
Which would be
1,800.
Well, I don't see,
But can't
I don't
he-
see why that would bother him if we take him to 29 hours.
Well, I don't think it
Give him-
would. One
and
less
give him the
hour.
same
But I
pay.
mean, the county loses them, but I mean,
Right,
as long as we have
but
the
it
agreement.
doesn't, because on the long end, we're covering ourselves to not be obligated to that responsibility,
But
in
don't
my
we
opinion,
have-
gentlemen.
We don't have the option to just not take pay over benefits.
Not by the federal government, no.
That's what started
And then
this
you can
2
take it
years.
and then write a check back to the county.
That's what started all this 2 years ago, is in a money-saving effort. When Hartman Howie became chairman, that was one of the things that we eliminated. And Rich didn't need insurance at the time anyway, so he was good with it. At one point, he had signed a paper 2.5 years ago saying that he wouldn't take that insurance or the money. And I guess he wasn't now taking the actual buyout money. And so we need to protect ourselves from all that, because we should not be paying that. That was not part of the deal that me and Hartman Howie had made with Mr. Warner 2.5 years ago.
I'm sure that I can talk to Trent, and 29 hours is not going to be a problem.
In that regard, if there is an emergency and if there's a need for him to be here over 29 hours or to put in more than 29 hours, how do we deal with that?
He's willing to
situation?
flex his hours. That is part of what we, even in the interview process, whether he understands the position, he's been doing it for years, he understands that, it's not an 8 to 4 all the time, but he is willing to flex his hours.
So some comp time and stuff.
Or if he-
Comp time,
he may
or
work
if
40
he stays
hours.
late, he comes in late the next day,
Yeah,
so.
comp time.
Okay. So
So do we need to?
we need to.
So I would like
amend the motion.
to amend the motion to say, consider authorizing the sheriff's office to hire an emergency management coordinator to fill a vacancy at 29 hours per week and an annual salary rate of $49,500, not to include any health insurance or retirement benefits.
There you have that.
Mhm.
And I'll support that.
I think it would say with no fringe benefits except those required by law, right?
That pretty much eliminates everything.
That's how it actually works.
That's fine. If they want to readjust it a little by tomorrow, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
No further discussion? Discussion, Mr. Chairman?
No further,
So what?
we have a motion on the floor already.
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney.
So that should be an amendment.
Is my amendment okay? I made the original motion and then I
And
amended
then you wanted
it.
to amend it?
Yes.
With the acquiescence of your second, of whoever seconded it.
Okay, and I second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward. I know. Just
I know.
following the rules. Thank you. Item number 5.
So is he gonna be okay with the 20, 29 and,
I
I
believe
mean,
so. I believe so.
Well, you said
we're
he
kind of
was,
splitting it up here when we're going from 36 to 34 to 32 to 30 to 29 to 20.
I'm pretty confident that he'll agree to that.
well, that's
We need to understand
less
it.
hours for him at the same rate of
Exactly,
pay he's
exactly.
getting, you know what I mean? And
He's currently in the hiring process for other departments right now, so I think it's critical we act and offer him, something that's, good for him as well. I know I've personally spoken to the emergency management from the state police in this region, and he said if you can get Trent, he doesn't live in Livingston. Livingston County wants him. He wants $60 an hour to work for Livingston County, so he's enticed by the fact he lives in our community, and he's willing to work here and wants to work, to make the emergency management position here what it should be, so.
All right. Item number 5. I would consider a motion authorizing the sheriff's office to hire 2 part-time up to 25 hours per week security officers to fill vacancies at an hourly rate of $12 per hour with no fringe benefits except those required by law.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll support it. Any discussion?
I just clarified that these aren't any positions other than what we have now. I think the only problem is we used to have a small pool of people that we've been hiring from $12 an hour is not very enticing to people. They're able to go almost anywhere, a certified police officer can make more than that. So we're finding our search for a certified police officer to fill those spots difficult, where we're having to reach out and advertise and things like that, so.
So it is just to refill 2 vacancies.
Well, it's not really about, this time it is, but we have a certain amount of hours that we have to work. It doesn't matter to us how many people we have employed, as long as we fill that
I
amount of hours, because it depends on people's schedule, and how many people we need to employ to fill those hours.
So you're just trying to fill,
Fill these
say,
two
100
for now and
hours
stay
a
where
month
we
or
can-
whatever, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Whatever it takes manpower, that's what you're doing.
You got it.
And so you're just beginning the process of looking, you don't have anybody lined up.
Unfortunately, no, so we gotta try to find some.
Any more discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And there's no opposed, we'll move forward to Wednesday. Number 6, I would consider a motion authorizing sheriff's office to hire temporary part-time up to 25 hours per week secretary at $13 per hour for no more than 120 days with no fringe benefits except those required by law.
Make that motion?
And support it. Any clarification on
Th-
that?
This came about because I think you guys know we've had a rather busy year. We've had to take one of the secretaries out of the front office and place her back into the detective bureau. She's even trying to keep up with the amount of reports that she's typing in regards to the extreme abuse cases. The deputies are out doing, triple what we've done in the past. So she's just keeping above the water right now, trying to keep up on those reports. We're looking at putting a night shift back here soon. I anticipate that she's going to stay back in that position typing those reports. In the meantime, we have a front office manager that's trying to manage a front office by herself, and I think you guys have been provided a list of her duties, and I can tell that she's definitely feeling the stress. You sit down, somebody walks up to the counter, the phone's ringing, and she does payroll not only for the sheriff's office but for the jail as well. She processes payroll, she processes bills for the sheriff's office, she does the depositing, she balances the kiosk in the front. I could go on and on with this. She does civil process, she registers the guns, she gives the gun permits, she does a FOIA request, she does a check-in for the jail, she does the foreclosure of the sheriff's sales. And I think if you'll find at other sheriff's departments, you have definitely more than one person doing that. And I have enough money in my budget as it stands to get her some help in there. I think there's some concern also with vacation and sick. We need to start training somebody for the future. So if I get somebody in there part-time who learns the job, I don't want to be left with, if something happens, then nobody can do all her essential functions. So that's my proposal. I would pay for it for that at least 120 days and take a look at my budget then and see if the need is there and if I can continue it. But right now, for the 120 days, to get her some help in there.
Any questions?
Said the magic word, your budget.
All right. Motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion moves forward to Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Brings us to other agenda items. Anybody have any? Not at this time. Final call to the public. Other than last. Nothing? Okay. Meeting adjourned. I said we're setting a record.
What it was until first 6 months of this year. We're trying to set a record here. We shouldn't even be here.
Who knows? I'm sure there'll be some surprises.
What's on this next agenda?
Let's call to order the Health and Human Services Committee meeting. Everyone please rise to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to the public. Okay, next item. Consider approving and placing on file the Valley Area Agency on Aging multi-year and annual implementation plan for fiscal year 2018.
Second, or I make that motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. 5, other agenda items. I would like to mention that the Review of Veteran Services Committee, our meetings we were going to hold in July have been moved to August. They're going to be Tuesday, August 1st, Wednesday, August 2nd, Thursday, August 3rd. And there will be a letter going around to commissioners, a press release going to the papers, and a notice going to the department upstairs and the Veteran Affairs Committee, and then all the service organizations in the county. Times are going to be on Tuesday, August 1st, 10 to 12, Wednesday, August 2nd, 5 to 7, Thursday, August 3rd, 7 to 9. With that, last call to the public. Want to have anything? With that, meeting adjourned.
A new record.